Hey guys, what's up? This is a letter that my grandma sent my mother in 1998, and then my mom didn't show me until the year 2000 after my bar mitzvah. Um, Let me just read it to you. I was cleaning out some files and came across a transcription of a reading I had about 5 years ago, so that would be 1993. I would have been 6 years old. There's a little bit about you and a whole lot about Ben. I'm going to throw out the original file, so you're welcome to keep this if you want. Apropos of nothing, she asked if I had a daughter. I said I had three, so she said a little bit about each of you. About you, which is my mom, she said, your youngest daughter is one that you baby and nurture. There's a peace of mind that you have with her that you don't have with the others. Doesn't mean that her life isn't turbulent, but it means that you see her tenderness and her calmness within herself. She's very creative, she's an artist at hand, that's why she'll always feel like out of step with that of humankind. I asked her about Ben and for any comments about his father and his birth. He's one of your guides in this life. Well, understand that his father is someone that is still distant from him and will remain so most of his life. Yeah, he left when I was 2, y'all, and then I barely reconnected with him a couple years ago, and then he passed away last year. He's a very old soul, that of your grandson, and when he chose to come into this life, he had traumas with life and being born. Actually, I swallowed some placenta during birth, and I had to stay in the hospital for about a month before I could go home. And therefore he will treasure life and he will need to be told often of his importance. He's one that needs to be guarded of his physical state, and in doing that, he brings about change in his emotions and his life. But he's also one that's very tempted by life, and therefore all of his life he's going to have to learn balance. He must be very conscientious of his feelings and his wants and his needs. He doesn't pay attention to details, and therefore it's going to be difficult for him in this life until he sees the importance of laying his base foundation. He will have bitterness and anger towards his father, who I actually have the same birthday as, February 10th, but there will be another male that comes into his life that serves the place of his father. Because of that, he'll never feel without. And that's my stepfather, Lewis. He's been there my whole life. But there are going to be changes in his life emotionally. When he chose to come into this life, he came to find himself emotionally. Even though you look at him and you see the temptations of life around him, he'll always expand into his higher mind. He will always look into his thoughts of feelings, of his spirituality, the depth of what is, to find his directions. You'll never have to worry about him. But he is a sponge and he gets eaten up easily by life. He chose this life because of his need to work through tangles emotionally. Therefore, his life will always be emotional. He will have to nurture his mother. He'll always have to be the go between her and others. Because what he wants in this life is peace. And he will look for those issues and those things in his life, those people that will offer him that. His mother's not always cautious of her world. She allows herself to be eaten up by life, and she's always for the underdog, so she always feels defensive. Her son is going to let her see that life is safe, but keep in mind that she's going to have trauma raising him because he's very giving. He does feel the need to be a part of the whole, and he does need to know that in this life he is his own authority. So he will resist authority. Sorry. So he'll resist authority and always be looked upon as someone that is perhaps a rebel. Not in a negative sense, but in a positive sense. I don't see any trauma that is coming to him. I feel his life is kind and gentle, but he does need to learn those lessons. Why did he bring himself to a father that would not raise him? Because he didn't need him. He's here to learn to be his own authority. His father still has doubts about his leaving and eventually may reconnect. And we did on Facebook a couple years ago, before he passed away last year. I asked her how Ben could be a spiritual guide for me. And she said, keep in mind that guides are not only on the spiritual plane, they're also on the physical plane. Benjamin has been he's been a monk in previous lives. As a result, he is not necessarily a monk as you would know it, but someone that was of the sacred cloth, and he's someone that you have been with before in places. Try to remember he's like a helicopter. He knows how to rise above the situation and to view it. He doesn't have to get caught up in his emotions, but he does have to learn how to rise up above the emotions, and he has to look beyond the person that he sees physically. He has done that, and he's going to teach you how to do that. But keep in mind that you've lived many lives, one of those being that of Russia, another that of being of Chantai. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway, in that time, it could have had an N on the end of it. I'm not sure. But I do feel that you've lived there. Now he's been more female in that lifetime than male, so you will see the tenderness coming through. But you've lived at least 11 lives with him. But keep in mind that you're going to see him change emotionally many times in this life. He'll always come to look for your guidance in a quiet way because he doesn't like authority, remember that. But you're to give to him that peace of mind in which he needs. But he is one of your guides, he's going to make you face yourself. Anyway, imagine reading that when you're, 13 and getting really into spirituality, and you're like, why am I into spirituality and my friends aren't? Well, then my mom shows me this letter, and she totally encouraged me to, always try and search for the truth, you know. And of course, we grew up with X Files, so there's that whole anti government attitude. But anyway, that just goes, that ties into my video, the previous video I just did about, am I here to help people? And I'm definitely here for some reason to help people. And, and only in a positive way, because I just want people to know the truth and stop being lied to, because it's insulting to be lied to. So I let them know the truth so they don't have to feel insulted anymore. But sadly, most people don't want the truth because it's scary. But that's not my, I have nothing to do with what the truth means. I just want the truth itself, and we can go from there. Take it easy, y'all.